compassion. What is it? Who has it? And how do you practice it? To be honest, I wasn't quite sure. Everybody talks about compassion and, more importantly, self-compassion, but what does it mean? How do you explain it? How do you make it tangible for somebody to understand and, more importantly, practice? I reflected on it for a while, and here are the two components of compassion that I believe are the most important. Everything else is just kind of fluff, but here are the basics. So what is compassion comprised of? 1. Compassion is comprised of a deep understanding and knowing that no one is perfect. We're not perfect, and neither is anyone else. So what does that mean? It means we're going to make mistakes. It means when we do, we don't beat ourselves up. Yes, we still hold ourselves accountable. If we've hurt someone, we apologize and we make amends. If it's something that's important to us, and they usually are because we tend not to beat ourselves up over things that don't matter to us, so if it is something that's important to us, we make a commitment to do better next time. Not to get it right or to do it perfect, just to do better. Progress over perfection. Think about how you would talk to a child who made a mistake. I doubt you would talk to them in the same manner you talk to yourself. In fact, most of the time, we wouldn't dare talk to another human being the way we talk to ourselves. Which brings me to number 2. Number 2, when we do stumble or fail, we don't use it as an opportunity to build a case against ourselves. When we get it wrong, our ego will chime in. It always does. You know its tune. It's the "I told you so." See, you're not smart enough. You're not talented enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not disciplined enough. Now, the ego isn't all bad. We talked about that in a previous video, which I'll link to below. The ego is our body's built-in risk aversion default. Its aim is to keep us safe and comfortable. Notice I said safe and comfortable. A safe and comfortable life isn't the same thing as a fulfilling or joy-filled life. So when we fail, our ego uses that as an opportunity to reinforce its message that we aren't enough and we shouldn't take risks or put ourselves out there. That's when we need to change the track, or at least turn down the volume, way down. That's it. It's pretty simple, right? Compassion is being kind and showing sympathy. And here's the fun part. This applies to both self-compassion and compassion towards others. If someone else fails or gets it wrong, acknowledge that they're human and no one is perfect. Second, don't build a case against them. It's certainly not on a single incident. If they forgot to call you and wish you a happy birthday, or they had to cancel a lunch date because of a personal engagement or something else came up, they're just human. Show a little love instead. Show a little compassion. Show a little kindness. I love this quote from Pema Chodron. Compassion is knowing your own darkness well enough that you can sit with others in theirs. Compassion becomes real when we recognize our shared humanity. I love that. Now the same goes when talking to yourself. I know this is the hardest part. So if you're struggling with self-compassion and getting out of the ego trap, call a spiritual running buddy. Use them as a sounding board. We should all have a couple of people on our speed dial that we can call when we're in a funk or we're trying to get out of our own heads. To be clear, this is someone you're close to, someone who knows you pretty intimately, because you're not going to call up your dentist because you got sucked into going to your sister-in-law's birthday party. You know, the one you haven't spoken to in years. So if you don't have a spiritual running buddy, post in the comments below or engage with us on social media and let this beautiful community of light warriors support you and show you some love. If you need a little extra help on trying to get out of your ego or trying to get out of the ego trap, use the meditations that are on my meditation album. I'll link to it below. This can be a great tool to have in your toolbox to use when you're struggling with self-compassion. Now let me ask you, where do you struggle? Do you struggle more with self-compassion or with compassion towards others? Have you set the bar so high that now it's hard for you to hold compassion and kindness towards yourself or others? Let me know in the comments below and let's start a conversation. If you enjoyed this video, and I certainly hope you did, I'd be truly grateful if you shared it. Sending you love. Stay strong, warriors.